On this installment of my LEGO Super Smash Bros. Series, I'm going to be designing some of the characters you've all been requesting down in the comments. And I totally haven't been putting them off because they've been hard to design or something. Anyways, let's get building.
Lucas!
Similar to what I did with my Ness minifigure, I'm also going to give Lucas these mid-length blue legs. Another similarity between that minifigure and this one is that I'm going to be using another classic pirate torso, just with a different print this time. Then I'm also going to add these dual molded arms with red sleeves and light nougat arms and hands. Unfortunately, these arms aren't super easy to come by and they're pretty expensive, but I had to get them just to complete the look. Then I used this light nougat head that has this scared child expression on it, which I think fits Lucas's character pretty well. Then I added this swooped blonde hair piece from the Birthday Boy Collectible Series minifigure. And of course I couldn't forget about Lucas's red snake as well, so I added him as an accessory. Lucas isn't the only young Smash Bros. Fighter I have in this video, because there are plenty of other kids that want to get in on the fight, such as
Inkling!
Admittedly, Inkling was one of the more difficult Smash Bros. Fighters to design. Since the Splatoon games have such a specific look and aesthetic to it, I really wanted to pin that down before I made a video on this character. But for an easy start, we're just going to need some black mid-length legs. Unfortunately, there's no perfect torso for an Inkling minifigure in LEGO. Since they have such a specific design on their t-shirt, it was hard to replicate that, but I did find a pretty good runner-up. This torso design has some mountains in the foreground, however in the background on the t-shirt it has some paint splatter, which I thought was appropriate. We're also going to add some dual molded arms with white sleeves and light nougat arms and hands. And since our Inkling is going to be carrying an ink tank for their paint gun, we're going to need to add this white minifigure back bracket. The design that I used for the ink tank is made up of 4 simple pieces. 2 clear bricks in the middle, as well as an orange Technic ball joint, and then a lime green stud on top. For only being 4 pieces, I think it's a pretty good representation of an ink tank. Then we're going to use this minifigure head from one of the Incredibles minifigures. I also found the perfect hairpiece to represent the Inkling's squid tentacle hair. Or so I thought. Everything looks great with the head and hair until you try and put it on the actual minifigure. Since the hair is so long, it kinda gets stuck by the ink tank. But if you're a veteran watcher of my LEGO Super Smash Bros. Videos, you know I'm not afraid to do a couple illegal techniques to make something work. Hello little Miss Inkling hair that doesn't fit my minifigure the way I want it to. Have you met my friend Scissors? Just a little off the top. Oh my gosh, I love your haircut, almost like nothing extremely illegal ever happened. So now we gotta give this Inkling some weaponry. By using various bricks, tiles, minifigure accessory holders, bars, and even a red minifigure hand, I was able to make this Inkling splatter gun. Getting the size, color, and shape of this right was probably the hardest thing to do about this whole minifigure, but I think it turned out really well. And now this Inkling is ready for some turf wars.
Villager!
Once again, we're going to be using another pair of these mid-length black legs, as well as a simple unprinted red torso, with, you guessed it, not the original arms. Instead, we're going to add the same arms that we used for Lucas with the dual molded red sleeve and light nougat arms and hands. And like I mentioned earlier, these arms are not cheap and are not easy to find with many minifigures, so yes, I bought these expensive arms not just once, but twice. I swear I'll do anything for this channel. Then since Villager has a very basic face, we're going to just use the regular Lego head here in light nougat to match the arms. And then cap it off with the most classic looking Lego hair of all time. You can also give him his signature bug net or his slingshot, or my personal favorite, his murderous axe. I even made an Animal Crossing style tree for him to cut down. And since we've now made the villager from Animal Crossing, let's make an animal for him to cross. Luckily for me, a lot of the heavy lifting here has already been done by LEGO. I just used a simple dog piece here from a Harry Potter set, as well as a seagull piece, which there isn't really a duck that works super well in LEGO form, so the seagull will have to do. But don't worry, I'm not this lazy. I've also made a couple accessories for our duck hunt duo here. As you can see, I've also made a clay pigeon here that's being thrown in the air, and I've also added a soda can here as well. Both iconic parts of the original Duck Hunt game and also Duck Hunt's moveset in the game.
Kirby!
Kirby was a character I struggled with on how to design for a very long time. That was until I came across this piece. And while this piece won't give me a completely round Kirby, I think it'll still get the point across pretty well, at least when you look at it from the front. After finding that initial round piece, I added this 4x4 dark pink round plate with a hole in the center. I then added 4 1x2 rounded plates, and then added some tiles to the front where you can see Kirby's body is starting to come together. Then I added a simple 1x1 pink stud in the middle, and then this modified 2x2 plate on top of it. Then I added a couple rounded 1x2 black plates with these tiles on top, as well as a 2x2 black tile. That way I could represent the eyes and the mouth on the face. It isn't perfect by any means, but I think it's better than a lot of the custom Kirbys I've seen in the past. I think the best part is that initial piece that I found that gives the body a rounded appearance. I also added this star piece on the bottom, that way it looks like Kirby's flying off on a warp star. And once I found that initial pink dome piece, that meant that I could make another round Kirby character.
Meta Knight!
So I got really lucky, and it turns out that the same piece I used for Kirby also comes in dark blue, which means we can make Meta Knight. Since this is a 4x4 dome, I'm going to use a 3x3 dome with this bar in the middle and slide it on top, that way I can make Meta Knight's faceplate. I'm also going to use the same 2x2 modified plate that I used for Kirby's face in conjunction with these 1x1 tiles for Meta Knight's eyes. And this is by far the easiest part of the build, because the rest of it is pretty convoluted and took a really long time to figure out, but I'll break it down for you. I used several 1x2 rounded dark blue plates all along the back of this build. I then used some modified plates and brackets to connect these glove pieces onto his arms. And speaking of his arms, I had to use a really weird technique to get him to hold his sword. By holding the sword in that gauntlet, and then using the 1x2 plate to hold it in place, it actually stays inside the hand really well. If I wasn't able to come up with that technique, I'm not sure what I would have done for him to hold his sword, because I was pretty dead set on using these gauntlet pieces. After that, I was able to use some rounded 1x2 plates similar to what I did with Kirby for his feet. And then all I had to do was put some 1x1 studs with holes as well as some clips through them, and then connect these wings to the back. But we still have a couple characters left, also with gold swords, that probably want to clash with Meta Knights.
Lucina!
Lucina is going to use some very basic non-printed dark blue legs. And then I thought this Loki torso was a pretty good match for what she wears in the games. I also gave her some dark blue hands, since she wears gloves that are the same color as the rest of her outfit. Of course, she gets the signature dark red Fire Emblem character cape, and a little bit of an outside-the-box headpiece that I decided to add. While it would have been easy to just pick a light nougat minifigure female face for this character, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I looked at a lot of different characters that had different types of face masks and shields, and I found that this Luke Skywalker minifigure head works really well to replicate Lucina's mask. And especially once you put some dark blue hair on top of that head, I think it looks really good. And as far as her sword is concerned, it's a simple red lightsaber hilt, a gold stud on the bottom, and this gold blade. And speaking of her sword, let's see the other character that uses the same exact sword.
Chrom!
As you probably can already tell, we're going to do something a little bit different for the legs on Chrom. We're going to use this leg piece from an Ahsoka Tano minifigure, except we're going to take the right leg off, and then replace it with just a standard non-printed dark blue leg. This is because of Chrom's very unique armor plating that he has on his leg. And since it's only on his left leg, I figured I should switch out the other one. And for Chrom's torso, we're going to use this Bucky Barnes minifigure torso from the Series 1 Marvel minifigures. But once again, since Chrom has some pretty weird armor plating, we're going to do something different with the arms. His right arm is going to be this light nougat color with a white hand, and then his left arm is going to be a dark blue color with a white hand. That way you can properly convey all the different parts that he has armor on his body. And before we give him some more armor, we're going to give him his white cape. And then we can add the shoulder armor for him, which is usually on his left shoulder in the game. However, this minifigure piece only comes with it on the right shoulder, so this one will have to do for now. Then add a light nougat head that can match the arm that's showing. And then, of course, since he's a Fire Emblem character, he's got to get some blue hair. And then we're going to use the same exact sword build that we used on Lucina. So now that we've added 8 new characters to the 27 fighters I've already made, let's do some math. As of this video, I've made 35 custom LEGO Super Smash Bros. Characters, which is pretty awesome. But if we add the characters that have already been done justice from LEGO, such as Sonic, Isabelle, Steve, etc., that makes 45 of 88 characters in the total roster. So we're officially over halfway through. I hope you're all enjoying this series as much as I am while making it. As always, let me know in the comments which character was your favorite I made today, and which ones you're looking forward to next time. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.